Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to my first impressions of Ori and the Will of the Wisp. This is a title published by Microsoft, and it is a follow-up to the 2015 indie darling, which was also published by Microsoft, Ori and the Blind Forest. Now, this game, franchise, and Cuphead has honestly, to me, been the most inspired, the most interesting set of creations that Microsoft has put out this entire generation. I mean, we've had some duds like Halo 5, Gears 5, which you all know how I feel about. But then, as I die horribly, we get some interesting stuff, like this game. It's a 2D action platformer. It's kind of like a Metroidvania. I'd say it's a Metroidvania light. I mean, it's more of a non-linear platformer. Metroidvania games, it's all about a big spider web of level design. You think, like, oh, look at this. This is a lot of, like, you know, branching paths, but not quite. I mean, you know, okay, this is a linear path. You go down here, here, and then, okay, maybe you have a little optional area over here, or maybe you go to this area a little later, but there's not a whole lot of shortcuts in that regard. But like games like Hollow Knight, you do have a variety of abilities that you can use to traverse areas and even get to old areas that you passed before. So one example of that is this dash that I just got right now, and this double jump that I have. And you can also get a variety of abilities. The Spirit Arc can attack these little blue orbs, and what that does is that it lowers down platforms that I can jump on. The game in general is just absolutely gorgeous to look at. I mean, case in point, this part, like, look at all the little animations going on. You have this water falling down right here. You have these spiked vines kind of flowing right there. There's that waterfall in the center, of course. I don't think I'm a fan of the blur that they have going on, or I don't know what it is. It's just this weird depth of field effect. But I do like the contrasting colors. It's got this nice mossy look to it. You know, there's some like different shades of green right here, blue. Green and blue, really. It just loves that color palette. But I've seen some orange, I've seen some red. It does, like, dabble in some other palettes. You're not going to see the same thing. Okay, let's just get into the game and talk about the gameplay. So what is that like? Well, I did mention, like, you know, the little exploration bits, but combat is quite fun. It is very simplistic, but I gotta say it's a little bit better than something like Hollow Knight, where Hollow Knight, you know, it was a fun game, but it was very rudimentary, very basic in its platforming. This game's got a lot more in its jumps than Hollow Knight does. It's a little bit more lenient, too, even though it can be a little difficult at times. So, like, I heard the previous game could be very challenging at certain points. So, in this game, when you jump around, you actually have a lot of float to your jump, so you can, like, move around. And when you're on the ground, though, it's a lot tighter, too. You feel like you have a very good range of movement, and everything controls very, very well. And the difficulty, as I've just mentioned, is very, very lenient. As in, you know, they'll give you some tricky parts. You know, when you fight, like, a different enemy, you might be confused as to how to fight it, because it's like, oh, I've never fought something like this before, this is kind of weird. And then you're like, oh, I figured it out, this is how you beat it. But it'll give you, like, a checkpoint, like, right before you fight it. So it's not like Hollow Knight where you have to rest at some bench, you know, like, Hollow Knight tried to do these weird, like, Dark Souls light mechanics, and I don't like, you know, saying, like, oh, yeah, it's like the Dark Souls platformer, because, you know, it's hard, but no, it actually had, like, Souls-focused mechanics. You know, you die, you lose a bunch of your currency unless you can get it back. You had to rest at these little points, which are also your the save mechanic, excuse me. You'd be very generous. Again, the controls are great. The aiming with the bow is extremely generous. It kind of just locks on. It does most of the work for you. It combines a lot of platforming with combat, too. Like, sometimes you're just jumping around, and you gotta just pull off these Legolas-style, like, jump attack with the bow to hit these things to, like, lower platforms as you're jumping around. It's really fun. It's like a ton of fun to do that. I'd say the platforming, the core platforming, is a lot more fun than Hollow Knight. And I think I just went around in a circle. What the heck? Anyway, this would be a good time to mention the... Yeah, I went all the way over here. I do like the dots that it gives you, though, so you can kind of pay attention to where you are. These orange things on the map, by the way, actually I can just show you right here with the legend. This is, these are things are used to upgrade or buy spells. You know, these things. Well, this one, and this one I just got from the game itself. These are, you know, part of the ways you progress. And this was just, see if I can... I don't have enough energy to use it. But yeah, used to upgrade. They're also used to upgrade, I'm sorry, they used to upgrade these, and as well as buy them, and then you could also buy abilities. Sorry, anyway. So, you can get more of these, you can actually hold more of these, but they're just passives, you know, 20% less damage, stick and climb on walls, items come to you, you know, stuff like that. And you have your inventory. Again, I haven't played too much of this game, about 2 hours in. The previous game was beatable in about 8 hours, with about 12 hours of total content. And then you have all these little optional things you can collect, for example, Spirit Light, Life Cells, Energy Cells, Shard Slots. So, you know, increase your life, maximum life. Upgrade, already mentioned that, increase your maximum energy, Shard Slots. This, I haven't figured out what it does yet. And yeah, I am a little bit early, but I can say that just from playing the first 2 hours, I can... like, yeah, I can recommend this. Because usually when I play a game to do for the channel, you know, I always try to do 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and that depends. Because I usually try to aim for 3. Because if the game's not doing it for me within the first 2 hours, usually by the third I can find something that'll maybe keep my attention, or some way to recommend it. And if not, I'm still, like, having some trouble, I'll try 4 or 5. And that depends, like, if it's like, okay, there's obviously, like, a lot more going on that I need to look for and talk about that comes in later. So, like an RPG. And then 5 hours would be, okay, I need to test everything. That's like multiplayer, horde mode, co-op mode, you know, stuff like that. But I can honestly tell you that, given the reputation of the first game, and this one, it's doing pretty well. The Xbox One version seems to actually be having a few problems right now. So I'd definitely grab the PC version. You know how I'm always going to respond to that. Like, get the PC version, because it's going to scale the best over time. As long as it's not stuck on the Universal Windows Platform version, which I have. I got the key for that version. There is a Steam version, though, thank God. I don't know if there's any de novo in this game. De novo, I think that's correct. Let's see here. I think we should actually go back, see if we can get up there. I feel like I couldn't, though. Aside from that, you have very basic options. Analog stick dead zone, which is actually nice to see. Vibration, music, and sound effects. Damage values, language options. There's no voice acting really in this game. The story is very minimal. It's not expressed through words really. It's just expressed through the animation that you see on screen and a tiny bit of narration. But again, it's not in English. It's just through, you know, random voices and grunts. Resolution options. You can go all the way down to 480. And I imagine they did that because there might be some performance issues even on the PC version. Because I remember the first game, I tried to run it on an integrated graphics Surface Pro 1, and I could barely get 30 FPS in that game. So yeah, even though it's a 2D game, it does have a lot going on under the hood. Motion blur, VSync, full screen on or off. Yeah, it's a Windows Universal Platform game, so it's, you know, it's fine with that. But I don't know about the Steam version. Controller options, nothing really to rebind here, but, you know, I think if you can switch to, yeah, here we go. If you go back to the controller, it'll do this, which is rebindal, which is nice. Alternate keys, it looks like. Yeah, you know, that's very nice to have. But it would be nice to see an option like that for controller. Just more control options, but, you know, hey, it's very comfortable for me. Leaderboards, you know, if you're into that kind of thing. Achievements. Again, you're looking at probably not the longest game, but you're probably gonna get your money's worth for 30 bucks, just in terms of production values. Again, you're not gonna get something too crazy in terms of storyline here. You're not getting some super intense platform, at least at the start, but I can tell you that it's probably gonna be on track to be better later on. If, you know, the first game and anything from this one are anything to go by. It's gonna be about $30 on the store page. So that's Steam and Microsoft's Windows 10 store page. It looks like Windows 10 might be an actual hard requirement, at least on the Steam store page. I'm not sure about that, but I know a lot of people are able to play, like, Master Chief Collection and Gears 5, I think, on 7. So... Oh, and there's the lightning, what was that, the spear? Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's see if we can get up here. But, I would like to play a little bit more, but the thing is that it's one of those games where I don't have a whole lot to say. It's very tight, it's very well put together and produced for what it is. I think it's a very aesthetically pleasing, tightly made platformer. If you're looking something more for something more like a Metroidvania game, I would strongly suggest getting Hollow Knight over this one. If you're not big into Metroidvanias, you want more, or maybe you want more of a distinct platforming challenge. Because Hollow Knight, it's very bare bones with its platforming. It can be fun at times. It can be really challenging and fun, but, like, you don't have a whole lot of mechanics going on in it. The main mechanic of that game is exploration. This game is a little different in that regard. But it is a cool game. And if you're looking for something like this, maybe cheaper, check out the first one. There is a definitive edition on Steam. It's got some extra DLC, and it goes on sale very, very often, like under 15 bucks. I think I've even seen it for under 10. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. I'm out.